today in history in the year 2022. I know, a new one for us. Gorbachev, the well-known Soviet leader, died. Ripped to a king, I guess.
Welcome to What the Fuck History, where we discuss the wackiest and weirdest things that make us say, well, what the fuck history. I am your host, Zachary, and I am back and not well rested after my vacation. But I did make sure to spend some time, as always, suntanning my butthole, giving me even more world-devouring energy.
My name is Meghan, and I am your almost 30 years old sellout.
And I'm Matt. Today I learned, and I may have already said this one, but I stumbled across it again today, and I was like, well, maybe I haven't imparted this nightmare on our listeners. In order for a clown to trademark their face paint, they need to paint it on an egg. So somewhere in the world, there is a hall full of eggs with clown face makeup on
You
it.
haven't said that one.
You haven't said that, and that is my worst nightmare.
Oh man, this was a fact that I knew, and it was sort of in the back of my mind, and I had thought that I forgot it, and then I saw something about it on the internet, and I was like, Jesus Christ, it's Jason Bourne. And so I fully, this is
Action,
not,
man.
I did not today
that's
learn
John
it,
Wick.
but yeah. I did not learn it today, but I did remember it today. So I guess today I remembered.
I just, are they hard-boiled eggs?
I don't know if they're like eggshells that have been drained of the egg, because there's no way that you could keep eggs that long.
Yeah. I'm
What
just
is
gonna
the
say,
state?
is it just like a gigantic haul of rotting, putrid
You know
clown
what?
eggs?
And I never thought that I'd say this, but I do need to look into the clown eggs now.
I don't know, what's the state of the egg? Is it like a plastic Easter egg? Is it a hard-boiled, soft-boiled, raw egg?
I can give you a fun little today in history as well, Matt, if you would like to know it, because I was going to do a story on it, but it's too fucking small for a story.
Okay, yeah.
They're ceramic eggs.
Who's making
okay.
these? I'm angry. I'm angry at the prospect.
Since the
that there is-
1940s, eggs have been a canvas of choice for registering performers' unique makeup designs.
No, that's not anyone's canvas of choice. This is a kangaroo court.
Charlie Chaplin has a... Oh no, that's a guy that looks like Charlie Chaplin.
Plagiarism in the clown world.
Imagine.
Big clown is.
All right, I'd like to get
coming
off
down.
of clowns.
We
as
definitely
quickly
do
as
need to get
possible.
off of clowns as quickly as possible, and on to the matter at hand, which is...
Unless you have a clown fetish.
Hey,
which is
we don't,
getting
so
onto
let's
clowns
go.
as
We don't.
quickly as possible.
Zach and Meghan have returned from their vacation and come to let me out of the dungeon that they left me in.
We left you adequate food and water.
Okay, yeah.
Quit your bitching.
All right, fine. Now we get to record. Our strikes have been set to 0. We played a game of rock, paper, scissors. The order for tonight is me, then Zach, then Meghan. You guys good with that? Are we cool?
Gucci.
Gucci. Cool. So Zach has been doing a bit on this podcast for a little bit that is like gentleman crimesman. And I've decided that I'm gonna start my own little bit, and I've done this once before in the past, but now I'm like officially naming it, and I think it's gonna be called Beating Around the Bush. Because as it so often happens with this podcast, the story I'm about to tell really only gets exciting at like the last sentence. So I'm going to pad the runtime by telling you the story of a person's life, and then I'm going to tell you why their death was interesting.
Oh, okay.
Is that cool?
That's cool with me.
Even if it wasn't cool, I feel like you're gonna tell your story
I'm
anyway.
literally doing it anyways. You cannot stop me.
Yeah.
Your opinion
I
has
wasn't
no
planning
bearing on
on
this
it.
situation.
That's
I
fine.
just thought,
like
hey,
most
Raj,
things.
I'm recording a podcast. Your input is not necessary.
Is that your
That's
dad?
my dad, yeah. So,
okay.
I do have to make sure...
I've never figured out your dad's name.
My dad's what?
Your dad?
You've never figured him out?
No, like you've never told me your father's name.
Oh, it's Roger. His name is Roger.
Yeah.
And I just call him
no.
Raj.
No,
or
I did.
Old Man.
I did gather that.
Or
okay.
that one guy in the corner that's contributing without being asked. So I have to try and fit all this into a snug 20 minutes, and I will do so by telling you about the life and times of Aga Mohammed Khan. Have you guys heard that name before?
No.
Okay.
I haven't heard any of those names.
Wonderful.
Before.
You have heard of Mohammed for sure.
I've heard of Khan.
Yeah, Khan! Anyway. So he was born in 1742 in Iran. Nothing super exciting happens to him up until the age of 6 when he's castrated.
Oh.
Just the usual for 6-year-old
Just
boys
the
of the
usual.
time. He's castrated so that he will not be a political rival for any of his higher-ups.
Oh, well, that's shitty, but continue.
Continue, I suppose.
He decides not to take that sitting down, and so despite the fact that he gets castrated and everyone's like, hey, now because you have no balls, you won't amount to anything, he's like, I will, and they go, do it, no balls, and he's like, okay.
Do it.
He ends up becoming the governor of a province of northern Iran that belonged at the time to the Azerbaijani. And then a year later, he succeeded his father, who had been the chief of his tribe of people. I can't remember. I'm not going to insult any Iranian listeners we might have or people of Iranian descent by trying to pronounce his tribe, so you're just going to have to look it up for yourself. But he becomes the chief of this tribe at the ripe old age of, I think, 15. I could be wrong.
Wow.
Yeah, I have met a few 15-year-olds.
Yeah, they definitely don't deserve to be the leaders of tribes.
It's not really a deserving
thing.
It's more of a I just don't trust them.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, not only that, but like your brain ain't fully formed at that point.
My Chemical Romance has that perfect song that says, "Teenagers scare the living shit out of me."
Teenagers scare
the living shit out of me. Yeah. So, anyways, in 1762, a year after he becomes the chief of his tribe, he gets kidnapped and used as a political hostage.
Naturally. This guy seems to be going through the fucking ringer, but yes.
Yeah, his life's kind of exciting.
Kind of.
None of these are, like, typically noteworthy in their own right, but,
It's the usual for the times,
Yeah, and this is just, don't call it crazy, it's a sign of the times. He becomes a political hostage for a good 16 years. And then, eventually, he breaks out of prison. And he flees to a location known as Astarabad.
Okay, I have a quick question.
Yeah, sure.
Do you know off the top of your head whether this was like the political prisoner who was like, we're going to throw you in a dungeon, or the political prisoner where like, we're going to raise you like our own child and brainwash you?
I don't know, and it wasn't really expanded on about...
Okay.
I think he was like a political hostage in that, like, it was sort of just like, hey, if your region doesn't behave, like, we'll murder this guy that's important to you.
Got it.
We
so, like,
will
they might have
murder
given
this
him...
man.
Yeah, they might have given him cushy digs,
They might have given
but at
him,
the same time...
like a nice cell in the prison, but he was still definitely a prisoner.
Good night, good work, most likely kill you in the morning.
Yeah, absolutely. So he flees to Astarabad, where he regains his political power. And then, and this is one of the more noteworthy things that happens during his reign, he shifts the capital of the Iranian Empire to Tehran. And I don't know where it was before, but he shifts it. He shifts it to Tehran.
He just wholesale shifts
Yeah,
it.
he just shifts the whole son of a bitch.
Slide to the left. Slide to the right.
Slide to Tehran.
Everybody clap your hands.
Ba, 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 ba.
So in the year of our Lord 1796, Khan then leads an army to capture Georgia, which at the time was a Christian country. Sorry, I got confused in my notes. Not to be confused with America's Georgia, which also feels like a Christian-led country of its own sometimes. But the Georgia that is in the Middle East. That joke didn't land with us, but there's one hick in Georgia that's like, huh, yep. In that same year, Khan is given the title King of Kings.
Okay.
Okay.
It's good to be the king.
Yeah, it's definitely good to be the king. He got that title after he tortured and killed the leader of the last faction of the resistance to him.
Oh,
so,
okay.
that's a pretty good way to go. But all this is to say that Khan was a pretty ruthless leader, and by most of my research, he was a thrifty ruler as well.
So thrifty.
Okay.
Ruled his kingdom with an iron fist, but always kept his word and pinched his pennies. And, as promised, I now get to the part of this story that is what the fuck worthy. A year after, all of his, now that I'm looking at my notes again, all of his stuff happens a year after some pretty important stuff happens in his life. He gets kidnapped and being held prisoner for 16 years, a year after he becomes the chief of his tribe.
He's got 1 year to chill, and then it's gotta be some crazy time.
Yeah, so he gets given the title King of Kings, and then the next year he dies. But in 1797, Khan makes another trip to Georgia, and while they're in the city, a pair of servants end up getting into a fight that is loud enough for Khan to hear, and so he orders the servants to be executed. However, this squabble happened on a Friday, which was a holy day, and so he ordered their executions to be carried out on Saturday, and asked the servants to return to their duties.
Rude.
You're gonna die in the morning, but also you still need to work.
Uh-huh.
Why was that the whole pandemic?
I was gonna say, how American of you.
However,
Tell me I'm wrong.
no, you're definitely not wrong. However, he just sent them back to work. He did not put them in chains. He did not restrict their movement through the camp at all. He did not put a guard with them to make sure that they did not, I don't know, sneak up on him in the night and stab him to death in his bed.
Dude was King of Kings, but also a few hamburgers shy of a Happy Meal.
And what's funny is that you only need one hamburger for a Happy Meal.
Yeah, you literally, you need exactly maybe half.
You need a hamburger for a Happy Meal. So he was at half a hamburger for sure. So yeah, but he
just had a couple of nuggies and that was it.
He legitimately just walks up to them and goes, "Hey, you were loud in the halls, so I'm gonna kill you.
Hey.
Please go about your business." And then he fucking goes to sleep at night and doesn't wake up because they kill him.
Oh, okay.
They just stab him to death.
The big sleep.
That is the stupidest fucking way to die.
It's really just the funniest thing to me that, so the reason that these guys end up killing him is because they knew that he was going to kill them. So, with other rulers, and this was basically just, what was written in the notes that I read, was, these people knew for a fact that he would carry out their execution. So, other rulers might have let them stew in prison and then just been you know what, it's not a big deal. But this guy was, definitely going to kill
You
them.
were a little rowdy, so we'll let it pass.
Yeah.
Now this guy's fuck
It's
you. You were 1 decibel higher than you should have been.
It's like a night in the drunk tank, but he was just no, time to die.
Time to die.
So they were fully ready for him to kill them, and they were we're not going to let that happen. And so they had, I guess they had an inside man that let them into his chambers. I mean, essentially they would have been able to get it done without that inside man because they were 2 men on a mission to kill the King of Kings.
Just two guys.
Okay,
Just
but hear me out.
Two dudes.
Just
Two
two guys
dudes.
being dudes.
Chilling, waiting to kill a king.
Hear me out.
Yeah.
Even if you didn't have the man on the inside, you're two guys. Yeah. And my thought process at this point is, all right, we're going to die in the morning. What's the worst that happens? We die?
Yeah.
What's the worst that can
What's the worst that happens? You can't murder me more than once.
They kill us
you
or
catch
something.
us and we die?
Either we die now, we die later, or the slimmest chance we fucking get away with it.
So what's really interesting to me is, like, it really gets you to a point where you're thinking about the fight or flight. Because these guys could have just run.
They
could have just fled and been fine. Assuming
they're
that
not
they
cowards,
didn't get,
are they?
Assuming that they didn't get caught. Clearly they're not cowards.
Yeah, first off, someone had to have some balls in this story.
Because he got castrated. Remember, audience? Keep up.
2, it's also one of those things where, like, if I pissed off the President of the United States, there wouldn't be very many states I could go to without being tracked down.
Yeah. Well, especially if we were dealing with little baby Cheeto hands.
You know, what year was this that this had happened?
1797.
Yeah, it's not like there are cars. There's not a lot of...
There are cars.
No, but, like, this is my thing.
There's there's not cars. You had 1797. There's no cars in 1797. What the fuck am I talking about?
But my thing is, like, there's definitely animals. Like, they could have ridden a camel, or they could have done, like, a number.
But what I'm saying is, can a horse outrun an empire? I don't think so. And this guy...
I think you could give it a college try.
You could give it a college try, but what I'm saying is you could give running a college try, which you might not get away with.
Right.
Or you could give
murder
a college try.
And you definitely
might not get away with
murder in that situation, because I don't think a lot of people really liked this guy.
Yeah, but also the other thing is, like, yeah, as I said, you could run, but this is the guy that wanted to kill you for being a little
too loud.
I assume he's gonna hunt you down like a fucking dog.
He probably will. But anyways, yeah, that's my story, and that's another segment of I don't know if I'll continue to call it beating around the bush, or if it'll be like burying the lead.
I don't know, it's a good one.
We'll figure it out. But
wait for it.
Wait for it, yeah.
Wait for it.
That's a pretty
that
good
was
Hamilton
good, though.
song.
Like, wait for it.
Still haven't seen it.
It's the only song in that
Zach,
musical that I actually like.
I don't really?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll take your word for it.
I don't like musicals.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
My ex forced me to watch Hamilton, and we were halfway through, and she's like, "Are you having a good time?" And I was like, "No, I don't really like musicals." And she's like,
"But are you having?"
She's like,
a good
"We
time?
don't have to watch it." I was like, "I'm halfway through. I'm not stopping now."
I think the only reason I haven't watched it so far is because when I was in college, Hamilton was huge, and everyone wouldn't stop shoving it down my throat.
Oh, yeah, that's
so.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Nobody ever really wants to deal with a situation like that.
Yeah. But I'm going to move on. Segues are weird.
Segues are weird.
It has been way more than 2 weeks from my bullshit on here. A podcast all about all of our bullshit and a little bit about history. So I'm not going to fuck around too much tonight. However, you all will be finding out.
Yay!
Finding out about a heinous
us.
gentleman of history. Ha ha!
I did hear you, by the way, whispering in the background that I better fucking not, and I just want you to know that I appreciated it.
Hey, I stay out of World War II. You fucking stay out of my fucking fancy voice.
I stay out of your sandbox. I don't want to see you in
mine.
mine.
Out of mine. No, I just thought that was absolutely classic.
It was. It felt right. It felt needed. But yes,
right.
that's right. We are going another few rounds of this bullshit, baby. So be ready. No tricks, only treats, and only the beauty of the mob. Because tonight I want to talk about Charles Pretty Boy Floyd, which, by the way, I'm not sure what 1930s beauty standards were, but he was not all that pretty, if you ask me.
Well,
Oh, well, I'm disappointed.
you're not a 1930s woman, Zach, so maybe step off.
We're going to talk about that later, okay? I am not a 1930s woman,
Wait.
but we will talk about his aesthetics later.
Okay.
All right.
First off, Matt, thank you for sending me a quick little snippet about this.
You're absolutely welcome.
What was the snippet?
I'm not going to tell.
We'll get to it.
You don't need to know the snippet.
I don't want to ruin a
He'll
surprise.
get to the snippet. I sent him because he was doing a bit, and I was like, "Let me
Okay.
help your bit out, bro."
Okay, well, fine. I feel very left out, and that's fine.
It wasn't.
This is the one where Meghan gets
It
left
wasn't
out.
your
I'm
bit,
not
sweetheart.
I'm not hurt.
I'm not
It's
hurt.
okay.
I'm just disappointed.
I'm not hurt. I'm merely disappointed.
Oh man.
All right. So, Floyd is born in Bartow County, Georgia,
Hell yeah.
and moves to Oklahoma in 1911.
Oh my god, that's the through line. I said something about Georgia, and now here we are.
I won't disappoint you.
Oh my god.
Maybe I will find something in the next few minutes about Georgia.
About Georgia to add to your story.
I don't know if I can.
Oh my god.
If you can't,
That's so
it's
funny.
still, this episode is sweeter than a peach. So, born in Bartow County, Georgia, moves to Oklahoma in 1911 at the ripe old age of 6, and he gets into a life of crime pretty damn fast, having his first documented arrest at the age of 18 for stealing $350 from a local post office.
I thought you were just going to say, like, the ripe old age of 8, and I would have been very impressed.
I would have been impressed too, but you know what? I am very happy about his $350 take,
Yeah.
even though he was arrested because, stealing insured money, my favorite victimless crime.
Oh, yeah. That is really
My
nice.
favorite victim. Wait, maybe we have a through for the stealing insured money.
Okay, we'll figure it out.
We'll
What's the
figure
through
it
line?
out.
So, just 3 years later, Floyd is arrested for payroll robbery. Once again, insured money, so I am unsure what everyone is up in arms about. Eventually, Floyd moves to Kansas City and gets in with the local crime there.
The crimesman.
The crimesmen in Kansas City. The mob was known to be in New York, but that doesn't mean there wasn't other mobs around.
That's true.
So
Mobs aren't exclusive.
Oh yeah, no, it's not just
there are
use
many
their
mobs
goons,
that you
put
can
them's
choose
their
from.
drugs.
I love Meghan
So
over
many
here
mobs.
being like the salesperson for mobs. She's just
Hey,
like,
Hi, do you want to join the
there are
mob?
so many mobs that you can choose from.
You can
There
join a
are-
mob, and you can join a mob. Everybody can join a mob.
Everyone can join a mob if you are so inclined.
I mean, in all honesty, in this capitalist dystopia that we are finding ourselves in currently, joining a mob doesn't sound like a
I
bad idea.
absolutely love that we found a way to bring it back to capitalism.
Yeah, like what else are we supposed to do?
You know what, Meghan?
What the fuck? Yeah, what the fuck else am I
Alright.
supposed to do? I
What
had a
do you
surprise
want from
$800
me?
bill.
Sorry!
Don't be sorry.
I
Grab
have
a gun, we're starting a
three
mob.
things that I harp on: Ronald Reagan, capitalism, health insurance.
I mean, they're all pretty much the same thing, no?
Those were the same things.
Corporate wants you to find the difference between these
They're
two
the same
pictures.
picture.
They're the same picture.
These are the same pictures.
All right. Tell us more about
Anyway.
this Steely boy.
In this Steely boy, this good Steely boy, Floyd moves to Kansas City, gets in with the local crimesmen there, where he does what he does best.
Crimes.
And commits, crimes. He commits several bank robberies over several years. This is also where he does earn the nickname Pretty Boy, which apparently might have come from multiple places.
All right.
I'm scared. Why did that
One,
sound so
That
ominous?
did sound
It is-
super ominous.
I'm sorry, Thinking faster than my mouth can move. Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather.
Okay.
The tip of the tongue, the teeth, the
No,
lips.
let's go.
Tip of the tongue.
Anyway,
No one says that as sensuously as they should, but that's fine.
did I say it sensuously?
No, you said it not as sensuously as I think it should be said.
Oh, like the tip of the
Oh
tongue.
my god, now I have to do the rest of this podcast with a boner?
Everybody does. Bang, boner. Bang, boner. Sorry, I'm getting off track.
Yeah, you've been
Let me
off
get
track
back.
for a long time.
It happens. So, one, it was given to him by Orville Drake because he would wear nice or rather, Floyd would wear nice white button-ups and slacks when he would work his regular day job. Not the steely one, but his one at the oil fields.
All right.
B.
That's a fucking bold flex, too. Because if you're wearing a white shirt into the oil fields...
Yeah, right?
Maybe they called him Pretty Boy because he stayed clean.
Maybe. He didn't really stay clean. He did a lot of crime and murder.
Well, no, I mean, like, in the oil fields.
Maybe. Anyway, one, Orville Drake gave it to him because of his attire for work. Mm-hmm. B, a payroll master at the St. Louis Kroger office, my bad, I missed a word, described Floyd, the robber, as a pretty boy with apple cheeks.
A pretty boy with apple cheeks.
He got them apple bottom cheeks.
Boots with the fur.
Yeah.
So it's not a 1930s woman, but my dude, robbery isn't the best time to be flirting, but I guess go off, my guy, the payroll master at St. Louis Kroger office.
I absolutely love the idea of, like, so the thing that I'm picturing right now is, like, the modern day interview, like a news interview where it's like, could you describe the man? And then it's just this, like, clerk who's just like, he had the most gorgeous apple cheeks I have ever seen in my life.
And everyone's like, that's
not what we were asking for.
Did you get, like, a good look at the guy?
Oh, I got a pretty good look at him.
I got a good look.
I wouldn't mind getting another look if you know what I mean.
Mostly at those luscious cheeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, apple cheeks.
Apple
I don't know, man. That's, as I said, I guess if that's what you want to do is flirt with the person robbing you, go for it.
I don't know, man. There have been weirder ways to meet a partner.
Yeah, there's been weirder meet cutes.
This is the worst meet cute that exists.
You know how I met your daddy. He was robbing me.
He was robbing banks, and I was in one of them banks.
I was in one of them banks. It was
magical.
He stole the diamond he used to propose to me right off the woman sitting next to me.
He stole that diamond, and he stole my heart.
We was like a regular Bonnie and Clyde, except his name was George, and my name isn't Bonnie. Anyways.
Isn't Bonnie. Anyway, shut up.
Anywho.
This is my story.
So, it doesn't matter because as much as we are ragging on this entire situation,
he was a
he
gentleman.
hated the nickname.
Oh, he did?
He was a gentleman of crime, but he fucking hated the nickname.
That's no fun.
Yeah,
when you get a nickname, you want it to be one that you enjoy.
Yes, I think there was a bit of an air of, like, sardonic nature to Pretty Boy.
Oh, so you think people were doing it because he was really atrocious to look at?
I mean, he wasn't atrocious to look
kind
at.
Kind of like when
he
people
wasn't...
call fat people tiny?
Yeah. I mean, kind of the same idea. Like, he wasn't a bad-looking dude. He also just wasn't a good-looking dude. He was kind of just...
He was a middling-looking dude.
He was a middling-looking white dude from fucking Georgia.
So
why does that sound like something... Yeah, like Jane
Lord,
Austen would say.
I was born a middling man.
Lord, I was born of mediocre appearance.
Did you
like, I sent you guys a picture in the Discord.
Let's see. He looks like me without a beard, so I guess...
Is that true? I don't think that's true.
I don't think you've ever seen me without a beard.
I've never seen you without a beard.
That's why I questioned, is that true?
I mean... Yeah, he looks...
Maybe.
He looks a little bit like me.
But yeah, so he just was like an average-looking dude, and he hated the nickname. But Floyd's rap sheet is way too fucking long to actually go through in its entirety, but the guy did a lot of crimes. He was arrested in 1929 on general investigation, vagrancy, and suspicion of highway robbery. In 1930, He gets picked up for under an alias and charged with murdering a police officer, robbery, and is sent to jail. I mean, the murder's not great.
The murdering of police officers, especially in that time,
yeah,
is not a great thing.
I'm gonna give him a pass.
You had to think about that one, though.
He did have to.
Well, he's sent to jail after his police murder. And he's sent to jail in Ohio State Penitentiary, but oops, he escapes.
Oops.
Oops, all escapes. But he goes on to continue doing his thing, and a few murders here and there, including some runners and a county sheriff. The guy was a busy lad. And I know most of my gentlemen don't do the coil shuffling. Yeah, they don't do the murders. The coil shuffling is not great.
Yeah.
But hey, I was on vacation for a bit. I'm feeling a little extra loosey-goosey tonight. But here's where things get a little too spicy for even my current mellowed-out state for me to give him, well, full marks. Because on June 17th, 1933, Floyd and Adam Ricchetti, now, I'm going to say that one more time, because it needs to have the proper
Italian
pizzazz.
Yes.
If you do not have your hand in front of your fucking face.
Matt, as I said, it needed the proper pizzazz. I have been slowly raising both of my hands.
I am so ready for the amount of Italian you're about to put on this.
Slowly raising both
I cannot take a picture for you because
your hands
both
are
of my
where they're
hands,
supposed to
Both
be.
of his hands are currently being raised.
Because his hands are exactly where they're meant to be in this moment. Lay it on me.
Because on June 17th, 1933,
Yep.
Floyd and Adam Ricchetti
Oh, God!
become the primary suspects in what later will be called the Kansas City Massacre.
Oh, no.
Yup. Oh, no.
I was so excited
no.
until you said
I
massacre.
was really excited for the whole Italianness of it, and then massacre happened.
Massacre
In my ears.
Remember, this is the mob.
Yeah, true.
So, some researchers are actually divided on if Floyd did any killing in the massacre. So, he went from a B to a B plus, question mark?
Oh, great.
Not full marks, but he's got a B plus question mark from me. So, during the incident, 4 law enforcement officers are killed in an attack by Vernon Miller, who was a low-level gun for hire, and he was trying to rescue Frank Nash, which, sorry, Frank, you died in the fucking crossfire because Vernon doesn't know how to use a gun.
That's upsetting.
It's a little bit upsetting. And this is where things start to get a little bit more back to the gentlemanly nature of where I want them to be. Because Floyd and Ricchetti go into hiding. Mm-hmm. Naturally, they go into hiding because they're wanted for moida.
Naturally.
I would also go into hiding if I was wanted for moida.
Yeah, right? There are actually many who speculate that they went underground because they were actually innocent.
Ooh.
At least of these murders. They did other murders, but these ones not so
Hey,
much.
we definitely did moitas, but it wasn't these moitas.
It wasn't these moitas. Yeah, so there's actually many historians and many researchers who are like, it doesn't make sense that Floyd would have been caught up in this. They were, allegedly trying to find Floyd because he happened to be in Kansas City at the time.
Allegedly.
And they knew of Floyd. And they were like, oh, it must be that guy. And there was a beer bottle with Ricchetti's fingerprints in Vernon Miller's apartment. Like, it's very circumstantial evidence, and there's a bunch of, witness testimony that is both for it and against it. So it's a big, confusing mess. But they go underground. On June 30th, 1933, the Kansas City police receive a postcard from Springfield, Missouri, that says, and I quote, "Dear sirs, I want it made known that I did not participate in the massacre of officers at Kansas City. Signed, Charles Floyd."
Nice.
So Charles sends them a fucking postcard being like, I am innocent. I did not do this murder.
I did not kill that man.
I did not kill this man. And either that is him lying his ass off in the worst way possible, a fucking postcard, or he's like, come on, I didn't do it. Will this lousy postcard convince you?
Excuse me, sir. I know that you've evaded my ability to, show my innocence before, but this postcard surely must do something for you.
Yeah, right?
Surely.
Either way, it doesn't convince anyone, and it gave the FBI every excuse to come down hard on Floyd, and they end up naming him public enemy number 1 in 1934.
Wow.
Eventually, Floyd's run has to come to an end, and on a crisp day in October in 1934, which is very close to when he was named public enemy number 1, the FBI end up gunning down Pretty Boy Floyd. But the problem is, there are 3 different versions of his death that are told.
Okay.
The FBI says that they mortally wounded him in a shootout, and the police captain... And basically, that he was mortally wounded in the shootout, and then there was nothing else from it. The police captain of the police that were on the scene ended up saying that the FBI did not just mortally wound him. They basically shot Floyd in the leg, and the FBI went over to question Floyd. And when Floyd basically said, go fuck yourself, the FBI then gave him several lead injections at point-blank range.
Nice.
Oh.
And the third telling is from a different FBI agent than the official report, and says that it's, almost identical to the original FBI story, only claiming that the police weren't even there until Floyd was mortally wounded. This smells like a cover-up to me, and I'm not gonna, shit on the FBI anymore, because I did that on a whole other episode when they tried to bomb a bunch of people in Miami, but I don't want to get into it.
One of the many times...
many times that they tried domestic terrorism.
Yeah,
Didn't just
Anyway.
try.
Yeah. So, Pretty Boy Floyd is dead. There's nothing you can do about it, but how does this wrap up into him being a gentleman? Like Matt saving the best for last, lately on my heinous gentleman of history, I have been kind of giving life accounts and then going back as to how they were gentlemanly. Well, Floyd was viewed very positively by the public in Kansas City and in Oklahoma. He did some killings, yes, but most of his robberies were against insured money. He didn't actively go out of his way to hurt people. A lot of the money he stole, he was like, it doesn't matter. It's insured. No one gives a fuck. It's all payroll. No one gives a fuck.
Amen, brother. Insurance fraud is A-okay.
And in fact, it is actually said that he helped people. He was referred to as the Robin Hood of Cookson Hills by the locals of Oklahoma, and they often protected him, telling law enforcement that they hadn't seen him when they had or misdirecting investigations. Allegedly, Floyd also had a habit when robbing banks that he would destroy mortgage documents, allowing poor farmers of the area not to worry about whether they were going to keep the family farm or not. That is speculative at best. And that's why I said allegedly. It is speculative at best that he destroyed these mortgage documents. The only supporting evidence is from locals that made the claim that he did this. And
locals lie all the time.
Locals lie all the time, but, he was such a revered person that it might have been something he did once or twice, and then everyone's like, oh, it's now part of the legend. Again, he was beloved by this county, this community. So it makes sense that the legend would kind of be inflated a little bit. But I personally would like to think that that part of the legend is true. Having worked in the mortgage industry for a while, I know
I'm
how ridiculous
that there's
it is.
no industry that you haven't worked in for a little while.
That's true. I have done a lot of jobs.
He's like, it's true. I
true.
have been all of the jobs. I still have all of the uniforms in my closet like a weird Halloween store.
Do you guys remember the 1990s television show, The Pretender?
No.
No, what?
Megan, you know what I'm talking about, right?
No.
No?
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
It was a
Megan's
TV
like,
show.
I don't even remember the 90s.
Okay. So it was a television show about a man who basically could be like, I can spend a day with a subject and then I can be whatever I want. So, like, he's on the run from the government, which wants to use his brain for nefarious purposes. Naturally.
Yeah.
So he's like, ooh, I'm going to be a doctor today. I'm going to be a race car driver the next day. And I'm like, sometimes I feel like that. I've worked every fucking job you can think of.
Yeah. That sounds about
But
right, though.
I would like to think that Pretty Boy Floyd did his best to go out of his way to make life worse for the people in power who tried to hurt the little man.
God bless him.
That makes me feel good.
God bless him.
Not only do I hope that part of the legend is true, so doesn't Woody Guthrie, who wrote a whole-ass song in 1939 called Pretty Boy Floyd that romanticized the man's life and recounted his supposed generosity towards the poor.
That's really sweet.
Hell yeah. A little sweet song.
I do really love people who are like Robin Hoods in their own way.
I think this is like the second quote-unquote Robin Hood of something else that I have covered, and I'm for it every fucking time, you know?
Well, I think like a lot of the times people are like, oh, there's nothing you can do about it. Like the situation that you're in, like the amount of money that you have outside of the job that you work, and some people are like, yeah, but like, what if I did?
Yeah, there's a select few people that go, hold my fucking beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what if I actually just like tried something different?
But what if?
I know it's illegal, but only illegal
To some.
for men. To some.
Yeah.
Not for me. Because I can get away with it. Thank you.
Is that your whole story there, bud?
That's my whole ass story there, bud.
Laurie, we should probably chug along to Megan's story there, bud, eh?
I mean, we could if we wanted.
I mean, at some point I do need sleep. It's been a long day.
That's
Rude.
fair.
I guess we will get into it then.
Tell me your
so I
story
didn't
which
have.
relates to Georgia now.
Well, okay. And Norway's not in Georgia.
No. How about
Okay.
you do us something else, and why don't you tell us the title of your story?
Yeah,
It's called Hell's
do
Bells.
Do us that.
Hell yeah.
Hell's Bells. You'll figure out why later.
Okay.
So it doesn't have the through line of Georgia, but it does have the through line of insurance fraud.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So I guess like that kind of
I
lines
can
up.
get down with that shit.
I can get down with that sickness. Amen,
oh,
brother.
oh.
Oh my god, we need to stop.
I don't like that. Anyway, so I've said it before, and I will say it again. Women serial killers don't get enough recognition. That's
Wow.
a hill I'll die on.
That's certainly... Yeah, that'll certainly lead to your death.
Well, listen, you won't figure out that it's a women's serial killer because they're clean and clever.
Okay.
They are. So I know people will be like, well, Megan, serial killers in general shouldn't get recognition because they're bad people. And for the most part, I would agree with you. Timothy Bundy and Billy Boy Dahmer shouldn't be remembered. Those are their names now.
Hey, Jeffrey Dahmer, the people nommer.
Dum, 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 dum.
They were bad at serial killing, and you cannot tell me otherwise.
Hey, you guys ever heard about that story where one of Jeffrey Dahmer's victims was returned to him by the police?
Yeah, dude.
Yes.
That's why they were bad at, like, they weren't good at what they did. They were messy. They were obvious about it. The only reason they got away with it is because the police are so inept at doing their job, both then and now. Fight
Weird
me.
flex, but okay.
Well, the police are bad at doing their job.
Yeah, go off.
We know this.
Go
We
off,
know,
sis.
but like the thing is, they weren't hiding pretty much like what they were doing. Like
Yeah,
no.
They did get a little sloppy.
they got really sloppy. Whereas women, on the other hand, like they have a craft when they do this. And I think like also they kind of go after people who have done them wrong in certain cases, which is a blanket statement, but what can I say? I'm a feminist at heart. So tonight I think you can guess what I'm going to talk about.
I'm assuming
I would
serial
imagine
killers.
that you're talking about goat, the throat goat Nancy Reagan.
Yes, the throat goat Nancy Reagan. I am talking about insurance fraud. Yes, you guessed it.
Okay.
I
was like, it's either serial killers or insurance fraud.
It's both.
Maybe
it's
both.
It's a combo. It's a duel. I'm hitting you with the duels. So it's a female serial killer by the name of Belle Gunness. And her original name was Brunhild Paulsdatter Storset.
Oh, okay.
I love that so much because Brunhild is, first of all, a great name, but
I
then
know.
like every last name from that section of the world is just so fucking good.
I know, it's so good. It's so good. I don't like the name that she died with sucks. Like Belle Gunness, who cares? Brunhild, on the other hand, is the descendant of shield maidens.
That's a name that fucks hard.
I know, dude. It's a really good name. So Brunhild was born in Norway.
Strong name.
A strong name. I don't know if you could tell she was born in Norway by her 18 names. She was also born in 1859 to sort of give you a time period that we're dealing with.
That's helpful.
Yes. Thank you very much.
I figured it was helpful. She was the youngest of 8 children, and by the age of 14, like most children, I assume at the time, was already reaping the benefits of hard labor to earn passage to New York City. Just reaping the great wages she was probably making. Child labor laws, obviously, really holding back children nowadays from achieving the American dream.
Achieving their greatness. And, fun fact, child labor is coming back, so get ready.
Yeah, that's true. Good. They can all achieve the American dream at the federal minimum wage of $7.25 an hour. I'm coming for you. Anyway, so I assume, actually, that's a quote from Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, that
Jeffrey Bezos.
Child labor laws really are holding children back. Anyway, so Brunhild gets to the U.S. in 1881 and changes her first name to Belle, because she was too much of a threat as Brunhild, I assume. They would have been like, at Ellis Island, please, you can't come in here.
I can only imagine what people at Ellis Island, so obviously, like, people were given more American-sounding names at Ellis Island sometimes.
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm wondering what they would do with the name Brunhild.
I have no idea.
I also want to know what the fuck they would do to that last name.
Paulsdatter Storset?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't...
No. I don't know. What the fuck are they going to do with that?
I don't know what they're going to do with it, honestly. But I think she changed her name to Belle, like, before she even got there. She was like, I'm going to come up with a more American name. She then traveled to Chicago to join one of her sisters who had immigrated earlier. And in Chicago, she got involved with the second biggest industry, meat processing, the first being the mafia, I assume.
That's a good assumption.
I just, like,
It's always
assume
the first assumption.
the family was the biggest employer. The family. But she got involved with good old meat processing and worked in a butcher shop cutting up animal carcasses until her first marriage in 1884. I'd like to assume that, like, when she got married, she's like, I'll give it up for you.
I'll give up all this meat for you.
I'll give up all this meat just for you because I love you so much. So in all the descriptions of her, she was said to have been a large woman weighing almost 250 pounds and was a fucking tank. Like,
With a name like Brunhild.
Yeah, dude, like, this woman could...
And that's not to say that all Brunhilds are tanks, but, like, if you're gonna own a name, make it Brunhild and be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, dude. Like,
absolutely.
They were like, she looks really masculine, and also she looks like if she got the opportunity to deck you, like, you would just die. from sheer force. Because, like, she has been cutting up animals this whole time, so I just imagine, like, her arms are ripped.
Yeah. She has tree trunks for arms.
Yeah, and legs.
And legs.
And a torso. She is a tree trunk.
She is a tree trunk.
Brunhild was born a tree.
Oh, no.
And she just grew legs and walked across the ocean.
I was going to say,
I
didn't...
the hobbits to Isengard.
They're taking fun. I didn't see fucking Encanto, but who's the buff sister?
Oh, Louisa?
Louisa.
Oh my God,
it's just
she's the
Norwegian
best.
Louisa.
Yeah, this is Norwegian Louisa.
She's literally the best character in that entire movie.
1,000% is. I love her. So here's where we get into the meat. I won't apologize for the pun, of our heroine's story.
Okay.
In 1884, she marries a dude named Mads, which is also a cool name.
Mads is a
Mickelson?
great name. Mads Mikkelsen is a great person.
No, just
Great
Mads.
Just
and
Mads.
they owned a candy store, which burned down.
From meat to candy. I love it.
From meat to candy, life's natural progression.
Yeah, you get your meats, you get your sweets. Call it a day.
Call it a day in good old
Oh,
Chicago.
man.
That's
All
how
right,
everyone in
this
Chicago
episode's
sounds.
officially called Meats and Sweets. Sorry.
Yeah, no, has to be.
Meat, sweets, and insurance fraud, maybe. So the candy
Let's
store
not
burns
make
down.
it too long a title, then we'd be Fallout Boys.
That's true. Or Panic at the Disco.
Oh.
That's also true.
So their store burns down, and their home also mysteriously burned down. And the couple got insurance payments, and just imagine like the little sparkle emojis around them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then 2 of her children died at home of inflammation of the large intestines. She also got insurance payments for this.
Okay.
Also, the type of inflammation can result from poisoning, but I'm sure it was an accident, maybe.
Sounds sus.
Sounds perfectly normal. So I am on board with the arson, but like the baby poisoning is...
I draw the line at child murder.
Yeah, we're drawing the line here.
Child
Unless...
murder is ostensibly the worst kind of murder. If
Okay,
I
but...
had to pick a worst kind of murder.
Yeah.
But if there's a baby that's been crying on a 6-hour flight,
Uh-huh.
I think...
okay. Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
No,
Meghan.
you get it. So,
Okay, Megan. Megan, okay. Okay, Megan.
I'm just...
Fuck.
I just think that, like, there's only so far that human patience can go.
Yeah, for sure.
So then her husband dies of a cerebral hemorrhage.
Oh, well, that's no fun.
Luckily, he was also insured.
Oh, hey.
And she collected the money on both of his life insurance policies.
Oh, both.
Oh, both. Yeah. So I'm sure it was a sad but great day for her. Mostly sad.
Many tears, many dollar bills, y'all.
Many
Like,
tears until
she's
that
at
check
the
came.
funeral and she's like patting her face with like wads
With
of
dollar
dollar
bills?
bills.
She's like, oh,
Shit.
I miss good old Mads. He was so good to me.
Hello, Ben Franklin.
Hello. She then used all of the money and moved to Indiana for no fucking reason and bought a pig farm.
Oh.
Yeah, hell yeah.
No, not the move I would have done. But
I mean, okay, hear me out.
yeah.
I think it is the natural move because I think what you're going to tell me is that she murdered all these people and eventually you can only get away with faking like deaths for so long and pigs will eat everything except for the teeth. So
I mean, like, you're not wrong, but like, I guess, I don't know. Indiana's just so big. It's so big.
It's so vast and also a wasteland.
Who's
You could
coming
say that
for
about
you?
all of the United States.
Yeah,
That's
fair.
true. The United States, who's coming for you? So she was really living the American dream on her Indiana pig farm. So then in 1902, she marries a dude named Peter. And while in her care, Peter's daughter dies. And then, 8 months later, Peter dies of a
And
skull
then she
injury.
collects their insurance?
This girl's got it fucking figured out.
Yeah, so Peter dies of a skull injury, and she claimed to the insurance agency that he was reaching for something on a high shelf and absolutely obliterated himself with it. Like, this man was such a klutz that he couldn't find a chair and just, like, ended his own life by reaching for a tall object. Yeah, he was also insured.
I could have guessed that.
Yeah, of course.
And
so
she
then,
got the insurance money?
well, obviously, she married him.
Yeah.
So...
Why do you think I married you?
Why do you think I married you? You had a life insurance policy. Any person, anyone with a pulse and an insurance policy is up for grabs. So then came the disappearances. In 1905, she begins placing marriage ads in the Chicago newspaper, which I guess is a cute thing you could do back then.
I guess.
I mean, you could
guess.
probably still do it today, but the type of people that would turn up would be the type of people that will kill you for the insurance money.
Yeah, well, you know, look, times haven't changed. Or they're the type of people who are like, I don't really want to marry you as much as your feet.
Oh,
So,
gross.
If I could marry your feet, then that would be great. So one of the gentlemen was from Wisconsin, and he was a farmhand. And to be fair, there was and never has been a woman in Wisconsin, so this man did have to outsource.
Okay.
Can you ever recall meeting any women from Wisconsin, Zach?
Liz just drove out to Wisconsin with her friend who lives in Wisconsin.
She's not from Wisconsin, and her friend is a ghost. If she lives in Wisconsin, I'm sorry.
Okay, only ghosts live in Wisconsin.
Only female ghosts live in Wisconsin. So this man had no idea what he was getting into, obviously, when he answered this ye old Craigslist ad. And the last that was heard from him was by his family. He wrote them a letter saying that he liked Belle, her farm, and he wanted his family to send him seed potatoes because he was like, oh, I'll grow some potatoes on this farm. That'll be nice. Then his family never heard from him again, and they asked Belle, who said he had gone off with horse traders and hadn't returned, which I guess is a valid excuse in 1905.
I guess.
Yeah, I think if I made my lover disappear today, I could not tell the police that he disappeared with horse traders. They would be like, that is...
It'd be like, that seems a little sus.
That seems suspicious.
Yeah, because your 18-something ass fucking police people are going to be like using, seems sus.
It seems sus. They're like, no, horse traders are a thing. That's fair. Men are wont to go off with the horse traders.
It's like leaving with the circus.
Yeah, it's like just going to be a carny.
Fuck.
I just want to leave with the circus.
I just want to leave with the horse
I just
traders.
want to leave with the Fae folk.
Yeah,
she
dude.
could get away with that if she was still in Norway.
That's true.
Yeah.
Fairies took him.
Fairies took him, and then like the Norwegian police were like, "Oh, the fairies."
That's his body right there. No, that's an empty husk. A fairy took him last night.
A fairy took him. So she did keep all of his shit. So I guess that was like an insurance policy. She just loves stuff, dude.
This is just kleptomania with more steps.
So many steps. Then in 1906, she gets another hit on her ad from a guy hailing from the great state of Minnesota. And this guy withdrew a lot of cash before going to see Belle. And although no one ever heard from him again, a carpenter that did work.
Jeez.
Yeah, she was really brutal, dude. So no one heard from him again, but a carpenter that did work at Belle's house did note that she had a lot of men's trunks in her house.
Oh my god. You know what? This woman doesn't seem that suspicious, but she does have a lot of men's clothes.
It's like fucking...
Or do you mean trunks in the sense of, like, their luggage?
I was thinking, like, it's a bunch of pairs of Mayor Lewis's special purple shorts.
No, that's true, too. She has those as well. She has those. She has all of their stuff. Any and everything that they brought to her house, she kept. She's
You gotta get rid of the fucking evidence.
No,
anyway.
the evidence is hers. So it wasn't until 1908 when Bell's farmhouse burned to the ground. It was also insured that the authorities found the bodies of at least 11 people on the property.
Jesus
dozens
Christ.
more cut up and buried in burlap sacks.
Jeez.
And,
Holy shit.
Yeah, so eventually the police stopped counting the bodies. They're like, wow, that's a lot of bodies.
And them be a lot of bodies.
And
It's like that one, I don't know if you've seen...
What?
I can't really get into it, but it's like a comic strip, and it's like, I just see you alone in your room with a lot of bodies. Jesus Christ, that's a lot of bodies.
Jesus Christ.
I want to see if I can find the original. But anyways.
Okay,
Continue.
so they did stop counting after they found dozens of burlap sacks because I assume they couldn't count that high. And eventually they did find the body of a woman in the remains of the fire, but when it was autopsied, the coroner reported that it was 5 inches shorter than Bell and 50 pounds lighter. But they deemed that it was Bell because they were like, honestly, we just don't want to look for her anymore.
We don't want to have the possibility that this woman is still fucking around.
Brunhild is still out there prowling the Indiana fields. So she probably faked her own death and got away with it because she was never caught. And I did find out that there is a name for this type of serial killer.
Is it... Nope, lost it.
No, that's fair. So a serial killer that puts ads out in the paper for like companionship is called a Lonely Hearts Killer.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And there is a history of, especially with like the advent of the internet, of these types of people.
I bet.
Yeah, who just post ads being like, hey, looking for like a girlfriend or a boyfriend or a companion or an escort. But she was sort of like one of the OG
before the internet.
Killers. Yeah,
She was the first one.
Yeah, she really went above and beyond by going into her local newspaper ad agency and was like, can you put this in the newspaper, and handed them actual money.
Jeez.
But I thought that was an interesting story, though. I liked the fact that she was Norwegian. It
I liked her
like
name. Her name was great.
Brunhild, but yeah. The other thing they did call her Hell's Bell.
Hell's Bell.
Nice.
Yeah, so,
I get it.
That was like the legend that grew up around her. They actually called her, this is Hell's Bell, and I thought that was a really cool like serial killer name.
It is a pretty good serial killer name. I'm frustrated by the concept of serial killer names, but it exists. And
no, it's not great. But it is a thing that happens, and I guess that one is vaguely clever.
It is.
And then her theme song was probably Hell's Bells.
Wow. And on that shocking note, after 2 weeks of vacation by my coworkers here.
Yeah.
After 3 weeks of vacation by my coworkers here, I am proud to announce the following. What the fuck history